Hi everybody, welcome to Aimee Nolte Music. Oh my gosh, one thing that you might not know about me yet is that I'm super competitive. I really like a good game with a winner. So if you were ever to come out and hang out with me, I might suggest we head on over to the park and have a little free throw competition. Maybe a little game of horse that I might clinch with my famous behind the back layups. Pretty much if we can make a game out of it, I'm up for it. Even if it means going into my backyard, picking a few limes off the tree, setting up a 2-liter bottle and shooting at it with a slingshot. I'm a little out of control. So when I learned about this new app, ChordProg, and that it was a game, I was totally into it. Not only does it help you with your ear training, your music theory knowledge, all kinds of wonderful musical kinds of things, it keeps track of your dang score. So let me tell you about this app a little bit and how I came to do this video. A few months ago, Jørgen Andersen from Norway wrote to me and told me that he had created a new ear training app. People do send me things like that from time to time, and I always do my best to check them out. And Jørgen was nice enough to give me full access to the whole app, which is available for Apple and Android. In fact, the cooler version of it, the preferred version, is on Android, which is kind of nice because that doesn't happen all the time. The Apple version is just fine though. In fact, that's the first one I clicked on, and I didn't put my phone down for an hour because it was so fun. The first game that I showed you just a little bit ago was called What's the Next Chord? I actually told Jørgen that maybe in his next update he should change the name of that game because you're not predicting the chord that comes next. You're just naming the chord that plays right when it plays. So I told him it might be better to just call it Name the Chord. Another thing I would like to say is that Jørgen did not pay me for this. I liked it so much I told him everybody needs to know about it. I'm just doing it because it's really amazing. In the starter pack, there are 10 free levels that you can play, but in all of the other packs, there are 3 that you can play for free just to get the feel of how they are. Let's look at the secondary dominant starter pack. I love this. Now, as you can hear, the chords aren't played with just a stagnant kind of MIDI file. They're actual real audio clips, and they're played in a beautiful kind of way. The chords also follow each other in a really natural kind of way that sounds like it could actually be a real musical composition. When you click on the correct chord, it lights up green. If you click on the incorrect chord, it lights up red, and you know it right away. Now, if you ever need to return to the tonic, all you have to do is press the tuning fork, and it'll play the tonic for you. If you ever need to replay the chord that just played, you hit the little keyboard icon, and it'll just play the chord that you were just on. Let's look at these settings. This is a great feature. You can change the key that you see all of the chords in, which is wonderful. Another thing you can do is change it to all Roman numerals. That way you're learning the function of every chord instead of just trying to name the name of the chord, which is so helpful. This is the kind of app that Jørgen wished he had as a kid as he was trying to do ear training. Let's look at the chord type pack. Let's say we'd like to just hear the difference between C major 7, that has the notes C, E, G, and B, and C major 7, 9, which also includes the note D. You can listen to them played in very musical examples until you can hear the difference between both of them. It's wonderful. And not only is there just one example, but several musical ways that you can hear the difference between these two chords. He's really taken his time with it. Let's go to what's the next chord. There are major packs and minor packs. This is the one that I showed you earlier, and I like it because you can see that you have to be fast. It will reset itself and you'll lose your score if 10 seconds run out between chords. Now the same thing goes for this one. If you'd like to hear the tonic again, you hit the pitchfork, and if you'd like to replay the chord that you're on, you hit the keyboard. It encourages you to be fast, which I enjoy. It also starts with just a few of the chords and adds the rest of them as you get better at it. If you don't get better at it, it'll just keep the ones that you already had. Let's look at it in a little bit harder setting. Look at this, level 18. We've got all manner of extensions on this C chord. We've got C7 with a +5. We've got a C7 with a +9. C sus4, C diminished 7, and a C9 sus4. That's pretty hard to tell the difference between the C sus4 and the C9. So sometimes, if you're doing these harder levels, you definitely want to hear the chord and hit your keyboard. Another absolutely amazing feature is this other icon on the right that looks kind of like a magnifying glass with a couple of 16th notes in it. If you ever want to hear the chord with all of the individual notes played, you click that and it plays them one at a time. Back in the main game, major intermediate pack, you can hear chord progressions. Like I've said, they're not just stagnant sounding, boring chord progressions. Jörgen has played them in absolutely beautiful ways. You can hear all of these chords happening, moving from C major to D minor to E minor. Actual chord progressions that might happen in a piece, right? And anytime you want, you can go back and listen to it again just by pressing play. You can hear the first chord. You can hear the second chord. You can take a guess at the third chord. Maybe you get it wrong, so you take another guess. Another nice feature is that you can click on the keyboard icon and it will play what you already have. I kind of hate to spend so much time letting you watch this gameplay right here on level 1, but it's just so musical and nice. It's kind of a calming game to play. Even if you're getting a little frustrated, this one doesn't keep track of your speed at all, so you can just take your time and really let these chord progressions sink in. What if you selected all of them? And you totally can. You can listen to them play, and as you hear them, I would really recommend hitting the tonic button every now and then to kind of reaffirm where that C note is. You sing it to yourself, you hear what's going on. After you hear the tonic played, maybe the next chord that it plays, da, do, re, and you hear re, fa, la, re, like that. You go back, you hit the tonic again, do, re, that's a 2. All right, it sounds minor. You make little educated guesses like that, singing as you go. I also wanted to show you just a few more features before I go. The audio and visual won't be quite as clear as the others. If you click on lessons, you can actually take little mini music lessons. Learn things about the staff, about how to write notes. After every little mini lesson that you have, you can take a little quiz. Little lesson, little quiz. I think this is great. Really good for kids as well, or people that are just starting out. Some of the questions are a little silly. I like the rhythm quiz too. Easy, tap the quarter note. Go ahead, do it. Let's take a look at these sight reading drills for a second. It shows you the note, you've got a little keyboard, you play the note. This reminds me of typing drills that I did when I was a kid. You press the key on the keyboard with a correct finger and enough repetition, and you're starting to get the hang of it. Look how many drills there are. It's really crazy. Let's go to the last one. Now we're in bass clef. Now, you only get one octave to work with, so sometimes the actual pitch of the note will sound an octave higher or an octave lower than it should be. I don't know if this will be fixed in later versions, but it doesn't bother me that much. Let's look at interval recognition. You hear both notes sounded at the same time. You can replay it as many times as you want, and for instance, you can guess whether or not it's a major seventh or a minor seventh. You can add intervals as well, so that you're not just doing two, you have a few to choose from. Again, this is like a video game, so they go up in levels, and with each level you get more and more intervals. It'll tell you which ones you've already passed off, so you can keep track. Turn your phone sideways for this mode of gameplay, and you actually hear the notes and have to reproduce them on a keyboard. I think this is brilliant. This is one of the best ways I've seen to develop really good relative pitch. It gets even crazier. One of the craziest things I was able to find on this app are the clusters. You can have to try to reproduce 8 notes at a time. It's nice though, because you can play the notes that you hear one at a time, and then you can play what you have selected, what you think it is, in relation to what it really is, and you can go back and forth between them as many times as you want until you can get those 8 notes. It's not easy, my friend. If you could only bring one thing to a deserted island, maybe it should be this app. Well, and a battery pack. But it would keep you busy for a really, really long time. There's so much. I can't say enough about the content, the quantity and the quality of the content. I'm really excited about it. I'm excited for you all to get your hands on it. I hope you do. I'm tired of that game. It's time for a new one. Go again. Double or nothing. I'll see you next time on Aimee Nolte Music.